Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I wanted to discuss critical thinking and ufology. So now, this is a tricky subject because the belief systems in ufology are all over the place, ranging from debunkers, skeptics, people who are on the fence, believers, and ultimate true believers, let's just say, because there's people that don't believe anything at all, there's people that believe some of it, there's people that believe almost anything and everything that alternative media puts out. So on this spectrum of belief, if you want to call it that, I would put critical thinking somewhere in the middle of that spectrum. Extreme belief being here, extreme denial on this side, and critical thinking somewhere in the middle. And if you've been at this a long time, like I have and many other researchers out there, you know, some people going on 20, 30, even 40, 50 years, Jesus, you know, you're gonna know at this point that you have to sort through a ton of information, and what you might extract from that ton of information is, you know, just a few pieces of truth or evidence that seems practical, seems rational, seems fair enough, where it's likely that those pieces of evidence are factual and that they do somehow fit into the bigger picture of the entire story, which is ufology. So, like I said, you don't want to believe everything that the alternative media says. Alternative media has now become its own industry and profit-making machine. So they have special interests as well now. The alternative media now, especially now, has a conflicting interest with the truth. So we have a problem there. And people tend to trust the alternative media, especially like truth seekers and whatsoever, like, you know, myself, I'm a truth seeker, right? But it's, I mean, at this point, if you've been researching a while, you have to, I mean, you got to be aware that you have to be very skeptical of the alternative media. Every person and organization and company and whatever in the alternative media, they have their own agenda based on who they are and who's behind them and what they're trying to do. Just like mainstream media, they have their own agenda. And I'm not saying that these agendas are good or bad or whatever they are. They're just personal interests, and those personal interests get in the way of facts and the truth sometimes. So if, just say for instance, let's take one case, right, Roswell. There's like hundreds of different resources you can go to just research that one incident, and there's not one resource that is going to have the truth. You know, each different story or source of information are going to have bits and pieces of truth, and it's your job as a researcher and a truth seeker, right, to collect those pieces and put them together and kind of put together your own picture of what is most likely and most probable of everything that's scattered together. So with critical thinking and ufology, you really have to look at all these things, and you have to take a second to reflect and think about what's likely the truth, of what's likely fact, and you have to also be alright with not having all the answers, especially right now. You have to be alright with the fact that, you know, maybe more information will come out, maybe you'll come across other information that will make sense in what you think is likely the case. So keep that in mind. You know, like I said, in ufology, there's such a broad spectrum, you know, from, like I said, deniers and debunkers to true ultimate believers who just believe everything the alternative media says, and critical thinking and healthy skepticism, open-minded skepticism is somewhere in the middle. So if you hear anything like UFO news or whatever it is, that's great. It alerts your attention and awareness to a certain topic or issue, and from that point you really have to go through the internet or whatever sources you have available and fact check whatever it is 100 times if you have to, but that's the only way you're going to get to the most narrow conclusion of what is most likely the case. So if you guys have any special techniques or methods that you use when you're doing research to cross-validate and other critical thinking techniques, please leave a comment down below and let us know how you do it. All right, so I hope you appreciated this insight on critical thinking in ufology. More to come soon, guys. All right, take care.